It's the Muppet Show featuring our star, Mark LaFave.
Address Casey's question. Do you have an idea of what justice is? I mean, ultimately, I think what Plato is actually talking about is, because again, he does absurdly place everything into binaries in the text, which is just hysterical to me that nobody mentions how absurd that, you know, if this is true, then certainly Socrates, you're right. It's like, really? It's so funny.
Well, in the same way that you'll say that you haven't read the 2,000-year-old book, I don't have enough skill or knowledge on Plato. So
yeah,
maybe,
well,
you know.
you shouldn't. It will make you angry because you'll be like, why are these people talking about this book? They clearly haven't read it. Because that's actually my conclusion now. Is everybody who says they read the Republic didn't. Or they have low reading comprehension. I don't know. But they're clearly missing the point, because the point really is a binary frame, or a frame that works with an ontology, cannot get at justice. Like, he's quite clear about this. So in that way, I would say the Republic is a re-enchantment of the world. It says, the freaking text opens with the whole concept being, you cannot understand justice by yourself. Justice on a desert island makes no sense anyway, right? You don't need justice if you're by yourself. You're an individual. Individuals don't need justice. Individuals can't have justice, in fact. You want to be an individual? No justice for you, my friend. No, really, I can prove that. But, and Plato does, right? But you also can't understand justice in relation from you and one other person, or you and several other people. It's not possible. What Plato actually does is build a city. Why? Inside the city, he builds classes of people. He builds a hierarchy. He justifies all of this. Like, this is the point of the Republic, justifying that. The parable of the cave. Yep, the video's coming. I apologize. It's taking me longer than I thought. The parable of the cave is the polar opposite of what you've been told. 0 people escape from the cave. 0 people can escape from the cave. You can't escape from the cave. You are born into the position that you're born into. And the people that are born into a higher position are of a different class. And there are several classes. And the whole point is you are supposed to take the people, the philosophers, the true philosophers, not the sophists. Sophists are bad. I think Plato doesn't like sophists. You are supposed to take the true philosophers who are heading towards goodness. They're heading towards goodness. And you, as the creator of the city, by the way, which is an interesting thing nobody ever talks about. So Plato and Glaucon, in this case, are creating the city, have to drag them away from that, even though it's not good for them. Explicitly, Glaucon says, Socrates, you're dragging the philosophers down to the lowest rung of the city to evaluate it and make changes, for which they will be derided. The people that they say, you need to change this, we're the philosophers, you need to change this, are going to jeer at them and not believe them and be upset with them. Yes. And Glaucon says, you can't do that. They're on their way to more goodness. This isn't good for them individually. And Socrates says, yo, dude, like, this is for the city. We started with this is for the city. So in the Republic, the greater good is the greater good of the city, not the greater good of the person and not the greater good of the class. And that gives you a re-enchantment of justice. Oh, justice has nothing to do with you. That's right. There are no individuals in the Republic. Individuals don't exist in that book, because individuals can't have justice. That's proven in the text. It's also obvious. I know you haven't thought about it, not you specifically, Bruce, but like, Muppets do not think about these things. And people oversimplify it, and they start talking about emerging from the cave. That's not in the text. It's nowhere in the book. I'm sorry, nowhere. It's not there. If you want to know more, Texas Wisdom Community, and maybe I'll grab the link for that. Yeah, it's a great little playlist that we have. But that's book 7 in particular, the parable of the cave.
Younger dancing to the latest 'tis true.